Hey there, long time, no video. Hey there ladies and gents, welcome back to the vlog. My name is Drew and that's the first time that I've been saying that in, probably a year, 2 years now. So it's been a little bit since I last posted a video, like I said, in the avenue of 1 to 2 years. And what an adventure those 2 years have been. And I think I'm going to fill you guys in here in a little bit about all the stuff that's been going on in my life. But before all that, I want to first start by saying I hope you and your family and your friends are well. The coronavirus is still kind of giving the world a haymaker right now. And my thoughts and prayers go out to all those who are working the front lines and helping out with response and taking care of people and making sure that this disease doesn't ravage the world population any more than it absolutely has to. And so yeah, that's kind of a somber note to start on, but hopefully this video will get you guys kind of in a good headspace, because I think we need some good news right now, and hopefully I can bring just a little bit of joy into your life and bring a little bit of brightness in an otherwise kind of dark world right now. So, where have I been in the past 2 years? Well, first and foremost, our software startup, Mechanics Codeworks, that me and my best friend started, has been busy. Good busy, I should say. We piloted our first application, Food for Group. We got some interest in that. We learned a lot about the food and beverage industry. We got to meet some cool people. We've had our lumps and kind of took our lashings at some points too. That wasn't all positive. There were some learning experiences there for sure, but each and every day I got to wake up and work on a project that I really enjoyed working on. I met some truly incredible people, and right now, obviously, with the coronavirus kind of causing shenanigans, the food and beverage space is kind of hurting right now. And we've seen a lot of our clients, we work with small business for one, so we've seen a lot of our clients kind of slow things down. And so with that, we kind of had to take a little bit of a pause with coronavirus and a little bit of an insight. Food for Group, is a services platform, so we have a lot of different services that help in a lot of different ways. And the main one that we kind of piloted was pop-up, which is meant to help pop-up kitchens, which if you've never been to a pop-up kitchen, you should definitely check it out. Basically, people go out for one day and they serve out of a really cool location like a brewery or an event center or something like that. And the laws are such that every county, every state, every country is a little bit different about how that service works. But here in the United States, you can usually find pop-ups, and it's a great way to support local businesses who don't have a brick and mortar store yet, or wanting to pilot a idea or a concept before they drop the money to actually build a restaurant. So with that, a lot of our clients were pop-ups, and a lot of them have kind of had to pump the brakes right now because it's just not financially feasible with how the current climate is. And so Food for Group is still there. We're still working on it, and we still are, entertaining new clients and stuff like that. But we've really started to look at other opportunities where our e-commerce platform and our e-commerce technology that we've developed can be applied. And I'm super excited because we've been piloting this new platform, Mechanics.gg, which is an esports platform. And our goal with that is to connect players with each other and their future in esports. And really, as I'm sitting here now, you can actually go down to the link below. You can check out my donation link on Mechanics.gg, which we'll talk about in a second. But the idea behind that is that if you are a budding esports athlete, or maybe you just like playing games, that you can find people that will help you to get better or help you to have a good experience. And if you're a content creator, like you make YouTube videos or you're a Twitch streamer and stuff like that, you don't have to go through all the rigmarole before you get paid. Because as I'm sure you know, there's a lot of programs like the Twitch affiliate program that require you to have X, Y, and Z before they even consider paying you a cent of what you're owed. And to me, that doesn't seem acceptable. And our team agrees that that's just not acceptable. So we've used our e-commerce technology to help do donations and subscriptions that from day one, you can start getting paid for the work that you do, and you can start garnering support from the people that love your content. And that to me is incredible. That's an amazing, amazing application of our technology and a way to help people in a area that I am really, really passionate about, which is esports. I've always wanted to own an esports team or an esports company, and it looks like we're going in that direction, which makes me super duper stoked. Now, naturally, as it turns out, when you're developing a new application from the ground up, well, I don't want to say from the ground up, but we've reused a lot of our technology, that it does take a lot of time. And so these past couple months, I've been coding my little fingers off and getting Mechanics GG to a place where we can pilot it with some people. And I won't say that it's a perfect platform yet. It is still very much an alpha edging on beta product. But if you are at all interested in piloting and help us test it out and maybe start making a little bit of money for the content that you create, if you're a gamer or a content creator or a streamer, then I'm going to leave a link for the Discord down below, the official mechanics.gg Discord, which is one that I'm a part of. So if you're interested, join the Discord, shoot me a DM, and I will be happy to talk with you and even personally take you through the process of getting everything set up if you are so inclined. So needless to say, between Food for Group, starting a software company, and building another application, mechanics.gg, I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on videos. But with Food for Group kind of slowing down for the short term and Mechanics GG starting to stabilize, I am now in a place where I have enough time that I can reasonably put out a video probably once a week. And just in the name of being transparent with you guys, showing you what a day-to-day project looks, or a day-to-day project, what a day-to-day life kind of slice looks like for me as a founder and lead software engineer in a software startup who also has fun little projects, which we will get into here in just a second, that I think I can do. And a lot of these videos are probably just going to be project based. I'll go into some of the crazy fun projects that I'm working on, and the hope is that this content will inspire you or show you that, one, you can still be in a lot of different things, or you can try your darndest to do a lot of different things, including like your day job, which is being a software engineer, but you can also pursue other projects and stuff like that. I guess what I'm getting at is that you can diversify yourself in such a way that you work on a bunch of different things, and you shouldn't limit yourself to just one thing that you do day in and day out, because then you get into a rut. Secondly, it's just super duper fun to design and build stuff like this desk behind me, which we're going to talk about in a second. Or I have a 3D printer project in the works right now where I'm building a 3D printer. And there's so many other projects that I want to bring you into and to show you and give you a tour of. So with that in mind, welcome back. We're hitting the restart button just one more time. Let's try this one more time from the top. So, hey there, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the new and improved version 2.0 revision 3.6.8 version of the vlog. I'm so glad to have you here, and let's kick things off with this wonderful desk PC that you see behind you. Obviously, you are catching me at a kind of a work in progress phase. As you can see, the top here is vinyl wrap, but the bottom isn't, and there's a lot of stuff going on here, and that is because this is very much, like I said, a work in progress. I had fully intended to document the entire process, but to be totally honest with you, I wasn't sure if it was going to come out the way that I wanted it to. But we are in a place now where I have a pretty good grasp on the concept. It's to a place where I feel comfortable showing it to you guys, and I can lead you through the process and some of the improvements that I'm going to make, because this is going to change. This is not the be-all end-all design here. I've got some plans, and as you can see, we've got some parts over here. I don't know if you can see, but these are parts that I'm going to be building into the computer over here. But needless to say, like I said, this is all in the name of showing you how I design stuff and how you can take an idea in your head or a concept and you can be absolutely meticulous about every single part of it, to where you just, to you, it's beautiful. Like, design is beautiful when it's executed properly, and every single aspect of the design has a reason behind it. There is beauty in that complexity. From an engineering standpoint, from a design standpoint, from an artistic standpoint, when all of these things are thought out, it is beautiful. And I want to share that beauty with you guys, and I want to show you a little bit of that. So let's talk a little bit about the changes that I'm going to be making on this guy. So if you'll join me, I will kick over here. As you can see, this is my desk PC that I built on top of an IKEA tabletop. And at the moment, it is currently surrounded by 2x6 not plywood, but 2x6 studs, I guess you could say, or pieces of wood. 2x6 pieces of wood on all sides, and as you can see, there are some fan mounts. The original design included a plexiglass window on top here that would allow the computer to be kind of viewed from the top down, but as you can see, the clearance on the graphics card is just that it reaches above the top of the desk. So I called an audible and I constructed this acrylic box that, to be totally honest with you, doesn't really look like it's part of the design. It looks like an afterthought, and it very much is. This was a on-the-fly kind of design change just to get it to a stable place. But now we're going to be looking at a more permanent solution, which includes these 3D printed standoffs that I made. We're basically going to cut out a 20 and change by 20 and change box. We're going to put these standoffs at each of the corners, and then we're going to mount an acrylic sheet right on the top of it, so that way you can see down and see the computer, and it has an open air design, so there's plenty of good thermals and stuff like that. And then from there, we are also going to do some changes on the motherboard. As you can see, I have the FH10 fan controller from Deepcool, and I'm going to plug all of the fans into that so that they all kind of spin at the same rate. And then finally, I'm going to mount a power switch to the front here, so it's just as simple as pushing one button to get the whole machine to start. And then I'm going to vinyl wrap this front part in black so that it's consistent and has a nice black aesthetic. And you may be wondering what the long-term goal is with this. And I'm a really big fan of synthwave and vaporwave and future synth and the kind of 80s aesthetic that comes with the neon pink and the blue and all that good stuff. So the inspiration behind this entire build is just kind of that. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started and move into getting this improved. But kind of put a picture in your head of what a vaporwave or a future synthwave style desk would look like. And then by the end of this series, we'll see how close you got. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, the thing that I'm sure you guys are all wondering is, what do I run? Or what does my computer build look like? This build is a little bit older, it's a couple gens behind. Currently I'm rocking an Intel 7700K with an Asus 1070 Strix card. I really like the Strix line of products. I got a 970 Strix as my first graphics card and my first build ever. And ever since then, I always look for Strix whenever I buy components. The motherboard, keeping that in mind, is also going to be the Strix Z270E gaming motherboard. It is a full ATX motherboard, and I am rocking 16 gigabytes of G.Skill Trident Z memory. I really love G.Skill. I was running Corsair for a little bit, but I wasn't able to get my hands on Corsair when I did this build, so the next best thing was G.Skill, or I don't want to say the next best thing, but the next alternative was G.Skill, and I've been super duper satisfied with their stuff. And then cooling everything down, I've got an H100i on the CPU, and then the graphics card is just cooled by its natural heatsink. And since it's an open air design and there's kind of an ambient temperature here and it's a little bit cooler, I'm usually rocking temps, like I've never seen my core temps get above like 60°C, and I don't think my GPU's gotten north of that either. So really love the open air design, especially if you have like central heating and cooling. If not, then there are some fans that I keep down here just to keep air moving, but under the new design with the open air and the standoffs, I may opt to get rid of them. We shall see. But let's talk what we're going to do now with all of this, because as I mentioned, this is kind of an afterthought. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut from here to about here, make that like 20 inches, and then go the full length of it. And I'm going to put these standoffs on the corners so that we can basically float an acrylic sheet across the top here, and that way everything is kind of organized and open air and looks good. You'll also notice that back here there is a cross brace, or like another piece of 2x6, but I don't really think we need that anymore because the desk is sturdy enough as it is. I was really just looking for super rigidity on my first pass, but this desk is pretty strong as it is, so I think I'm just going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to rework the cable routing because this is kind of a rat's nest back here. So let's get crack-a-lacking on that. Okay, here we are. You can see the guts of everything. So it's a little bit more apparent now, but you can see this crossbeam that I was talking about. And as you can see, it's I kind of shoddily tried to create a cable channel there, or a cable routing channel there, and it just didn't play nice. So I'm wondering if I can take my computer out, which I was going to do anyway, and then unscrew it on both sides, because that's just fastened on both sides by screws. I'm probably going to take it out, just flip it over on its side and see if I can pull it out that way. So let's give that a shot and we'll see how it goes. That actually worked perfectly. I am kind of astonished. I didn't expect it to work that well. So now we have all of this free space. Isn't it beautiful? I realize at this angle you probably can't see how much space that we have. So go look at all that space. Is it kind of weird that I'm sitting here caressing my wooden desk? Absolutely. Let me cut this real quick. Okay, doing a quick test fit here, and obviously this motherboard tray fits, and I was kind of designing this particular tray. This is just a piece of MDF with some Silverstone sound dampening foam on top of it. And I was designing it to have support for like an EATX motherboard, and as you can see, I kind of routed a channel, and that was a really hacksaw job. And it's really big, especially since I just have a regular ATX motherboard. So future-proofing, not a bad idea, but in this case, I think I'm gonna have to make a new motherboard tray. So let's do that. Alrighty, that is much, much better. So, as I mentioned, this is just regular old MDF and some Silverstone foam that you can get on Amazon from Silverstone. They are a great case manufacturer. I've built in their stuff before. If not, if you're balling on a budget, you can probably find this at like Joann or a fabric store in your area. So give that a thought as well. You may have also noticed that I don't have the standoffs or the nuts that keep the board elevated. And that is because I actually have an idea for a 3D printed part that I'm going to stick underneath here. So we'll get to that here in a second. But the next step that I think I want to do is just to wire everything up to this FH10 fan controller. Pretty straightforward. So as you can see, I've got a couple different fans here, and I'm just going to get everything wired up to this guy, minus the AIO, just because the AIO needs its own header, but everything else going into this guy and then this guy. Okay, I got the fans wired up, and now I'm getting ready to remount the AIO, and I'm going to go ahead and reapply the thermal paste here just because it's been exposed to a lot of dust and stuff, because both these parts have kind of been sitting out for a little bit. And for that, all you have to do, get some isopropyl alcohol and a damp rag, or a scrap rag. You're going to pour it on there, And then there. Also, make sure to never ever pour this directly onto components. Always pour it directly onto a rag and then use the rag to transfer it. You don't want to ever expose any kind of liquid to electronic components, and especially not isopropyl alcohol, which can be a little bit corrosive. Well, I don't know if corrosive is the word, but it takes stuff away and sanitizes things. Alrighty, good afternoon. It's actually day 2 now, and you are catching me at a good time because I just got back from a bike ride and just took a shower, so I feel squeaky clean and running a serotonin high. Did you need to know that information? Probably not, but yet here we are. So, have these standoffs that you saw earlier. I painted them, or I just plasti dipped them in 2 coats of black. And here's a big thing, guys, when it comes to design. This bottom plate, you're never gonna see it. So some people would say, hey, don't paint it, save the materials and stuff like that. But one thing that I've learned about really good design is that good design pays attention to even the parts that you don't see. And next things next, we have a couple more upgrades before we put on the big acrylic sheet towards the top, and that'll be kind of the piece de resistance. So with that in mind, the other 2 upgrades that I need to do right now is I have a PCI Express USB card that I'm going to plug in just because I do use a lot of ports. This is the Tiger grade USB 3.0 PCIe card. Honestly, it was the highest rated one on Amazon, so that's why I pulled that one. And then I also have, this is really cool, this is a power switch that comes pre-wired with the headers and everything labeled so that you can just plug it into the motherboard front header. I'm going to get this drilled in here and seat it so that this can kind of just sit here and it's just one push to get the thing going. Now, another point of design philosophy. I could just as easily put this anywhere and it'll probably look good, but think about this. There's a distance between these 2 fans that's consistent. And the fan starts halfway down the board. So if I just put the switch at the middle of the board and the same distance from this fan, it's going to look pretty cohesive. And again, it's one of those things that people probably aren't going to notice. No one's going to come up with a tape measure and measure it, but you'll know. And there's a lot of parts of design where it's like you as the designer know that there's something about this that's a little bit off. And part of being a good designer is having those standards and having those ethics. Well, this isn't really an ethical dilemma, but let's just say having those standards to say, even though nobody's going to sit here and measure this distance, I still took the time to think about this and be methodical about it. And believe me, it does make sense, because when you have a lot of those small little things put together, it makes for good design. But if you have a bunch of random stuff put together, it doesn't look as cohesive. So micro changes, little changes here and there will affect your macro product or the overall view. So with that in mind, I'm going to measure this out, get it mounted. I'm going to drop the USB 3.0 card in there. And then we also have to vinyl wrap this front fascia as well and around the edges. So I will get that going. Yeah, this isn't gonna fly. That's pretty slick. So, as you guys can clearly see, this is a work in progress. You ever think you would see a furniture clamp on a desk building video? PC desk building video, I should say. But yeah, guys. I did not drop those screws, by the way. So, like I said, guys, this is a work in progress, and I had fully intended on starting this video or making this video, I should say, by taking you through on a tour of the build and giving you all sorts of sexy B-reel and all this other stuff. But to be perfectly honest with you, this is phase one. I would not be happy presenting this to you as a completed product. I wouldn't ship this product because, again, maybe I'm getting so in my head here, but there's a lot of things that I still want to get done on this, including some really cool fan shrouds, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I think it's important that whenever you're a content creator, or you're making something, or you're putting something out to the wider audience, we have right now these large distribution channels where people are broadcasting either only their success or what looks like success but really isn't, or is kind of a facade. Nobody's really broadcasting their process or their failures. Well, I shouldn't say they're not broadcasting, but it's far more likely for you to find a post where somebody's flexing on you and showing off what they've made, but you never really see the process behind that. If there is a process at all, because sometimes it's just flex or it's a facade. But in a world like that, I want to be the one that kind of shows the process, because there is value in seeing this build kind of in its half-completed state, because there is design points that I like going over. You can see my thought process and how I'm approaching these problems as they come up, and sometimes that's even more immeasurably more valuable than you just seeing the completed product, which, don't get me wrong, it's going to look great. Like, I can't wait to show you guys the final product, but never doubt the power that an interim video has, or a video showing the process has. And I think we need a lot more of it. So if you're a content creator out there, think about that really, really deeply. I think when we start doing that, or when people start broadcasting the process, and I realize this is a long-winded soliloquy off the back of what was just a PC desk building video, so I realize this may be out of left field for you guys as we're having this existential discussion on the ethics and ramifications of content creation and what kind of content you should put out. But long story short, guys, document the process. I love watching a good build. I love watching the process because it helps me to learn. It helps me to examine the thought process of whoever is building whatever it is they're building. So it makes me happy to think that I can examine somebody else's thought process and really start to think about, oh, this is how a master craftsman thinks, or this is how a master artist thinks, or this is how a top-level athlete or a top-level esports performer is thinking. That's amazing, guys. So in the name of showing you the process, I'm declaring this as the end of phase one. We've kind of sort of got a desk here, but there's still a lot of impasses, not problems, impasses, challenges. That's the word I was looking for. There's a lot of challenges for us to yet overcome. And I am so excited for you guys to be along the way, because there's no one I would rather share this information with, and nobody that I would give the knowledge to than you guys out there. So be sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe down below. If you want to support this channel, you may have noticed that I don't run ads on this video. I don't run ads on any of my videos, and that is because I do all of my support and subscriptions through mechanics.gg, which is a platform that I'm building, by the way, or our team is building. So legal disclaimer, I'm supposed to disclose that to you, that I do have an active interest in how well mechanics.gg goes. But if you would like to support me on mechanics.gg, you can go to mechanics.gg/d/A is for Drew. The link right here. It's also down in the description as well. And there you can donate to the project. You can also get subscribed for as little as $5 a month, which is pretty cool. I also have some cool milestones that you can check out, so you can see kind of what the long-term plans are for the channel. I have it on the books to build a CNC router for a little less than $700, I'm thinking. So I'm hoping to raise a little bit of money for that, to bankroll that project. And yeah, every little bit helps. Also, as one of the perks for supporting me, if you subscribe, you'll actually get your name on my desk. So everybody that is subscribed to my channel, either monthly or yearly, I will put your name on my desk right across the front here. And at the end of the video, you'll also get your name up in the banner. And when we get new subscribers, I'll give you a shout out at the end of the video. So that would be pretty awesome. So think about that. And again, every little bit helps. Of course, you mean the world to me either if you donate or if you don't, but if you are so inclined to support and you want to show your financial support that way, I would be more than grateful for any amount that you could provide. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and we are going to wrap it up in the normal way, and that is by me saying, always remember that you are wanted, you are loved, and you are appreciated. You have a special talent that nobody else has, and the world is waiting on you to bring it out. So muster a little courage, go out into the world, and change it. That's what the world's waiting on. You. Boom! I remembered that even after like 2 years of being away from videos. So, alright, for real this time, guys. Have a good one.